jump into that.
Yes.
I just wanted to add in onto what my colleague here said. I don't think there's anything wrong with people having a handshake, you know, because we have seen countries that have been on this path, including our very own country years back.
Yes.
We saw how people fought. We saw how people in 2007, 2008, people really died, property destroyed. And it's a case in a number of other countries in the continent, including South Sudan and others. And therefore, the move to have dialogue, to have a sitting and talk about issues that affect this country, especially between two opposing sides, like we have seen, is a welcome move, irrespective of how it's called, whether it's a handshake, a truce, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's a really welcome move that should not be politicized by any Kenyan who mean good for this country, you know. But going back to your question, I think we all agree that the cost of living is very high. Kenyans are struggling to make ends meet.
Does it?
And it's very difficult for everybody. And therefore, I don't think that is just a Raila issue. I think we agree across board that the cost of living
Yes.
is an important discourse that we must have. And the president himself has acknowledged many times that, you know, truth is the cost of living is high. Okay, we have certain factors, including the Russia-Ukraine war, COVID-19, that have exacerbated this problem. And I think it's important that we find ways to look at it as a country.
But then, Steve, is somebody want to ask you that on the sidelines of us talking about the high cost of living, that this government has actually given you clear timelines of when they think they're going to have a solution to it? Which therefore begs the question, why are you pushing for it? They've already given you the plan.
That's really interesting. But we know that largely the reason why Raila Odinga has been pushing for this, and the issues that you raised, the other two
Yes.
issues on IBC reconstitution and opening the server, those are largely political. And you may understand why he's a bit disgruntled, you know, and I don't want to just delve even deeper into that.
Yes.
But my concern is really about the cost of living. That is very, very high, and we have to. The other day I was in a meeting engaging in some projects with some county governments in the coastal region, the Taita Taveta County. And the governor there was telling me that, you know, people are dying because they cannot afford food. That was just before the rains,
Yes.
you know. And we have seen, you guys have done wonderful stories very sad stories about how people are dying because of lack of food. And that is not something that should be happening in this decade of the 21st century. I think we have to be very proactive as a country, put our measures in place to ensure that at least those basic needs like food,
Yes.
you know, are things that are taken care of. I mean, right now it's raining, but nobody is thinking about how can we harvest these rains and make good use of them, and you know, or get into other irrigation-driven agriculture as opposed to rain-fed agriculture. So we are able to mitigate some of these problems ahead of time.
Pretty much. Be coming back to you on the other two as well. Now, Cliff,